At the outset, I offer my Bhaktipurna pranams to revered Swami Gautamananda Ji Maharaj, Vice President of the Worldwide Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission, and also the Adhyaksha of Ramakrishna Math Chennai. I am grateful to him for giving me an opportunity to present a discourse in the Antar Yogam program organized by the Ramakrishna Math Chennai on the day following the auspicious birthday anniversary of Srimad Swami Ramakrishna Ji Maharaj, an illustrious disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. On this occasion, I extend my best wishes to the brother monks and brahmacharis, devotees, admirers and friends. As desired by revered Swami Gautamananda Ji Maharaj, I shall discuss about the given topic, uniqueness of the Ramakrishna order. I am ready to sacrifice everything for one word, organization, quote unquote. But having said this, Swami Vivekananda had some sort of hesitation to start an organization. Quote unquote, if I start an organization, message will not be preached. If message has to be percolated, then organization is necessary, said Vivekananda. But after some thought, he decided in favor of starting an organization. This organization will be an undying lamp with all renouncing sannyasins at the inner core and devotees forming the outer flame. From a broader perspective, anyone who has love for the ideals of Sri Ramakrishna is supposed to have come under the canopy of the Ramakrishna order. In this context, I would like to recall what Swami Gambhiranandaji said in one of his learned deliberations in 1959. He said, quote, Sri Ramakrishna came neither for the householders nor for the sannyasins. Sri Ramakrishna came for those who yearned for him, unquote. Ramakrishna Sangha or Ramakrishna order is the outcome of a divine mandate from Mother Bhavatarini, a form of Goddess Kali. When Sri Ramakrishna's sadhana reached its acme, Mother Kali at Dakshineshwar gave him the mandate to establish a new Dharma Chakra. This is the Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission, the Ramakrishna order. Swami Vivekananda was the chief instrument for giving this Dharma Chakra a concrete shape. Swamiji believed and said, I quote, this Sangha is the gross body of Sri Ramakrishna, unquote. Before returning to India in London, in a moment of prophetic inspiration, Vivekananda said, quote, St. Paul was a learned fanatic. I am also a learned fanatic, and I want to create a band of learned fanatics, unquote. This dream was concretized when he got his scholarly brother disciples like Ramakrishna Akhandananda, Sharadananda, Premananda, Brahmananda, Trigunatitananda and others who saw in Swamiji the chosen leader, a world teacher. 2 years of physical suffering have taken away 20 years of my life, Swami Vivekananda had written to a disciple in April of 1899. Finally came the day of consecration. The ceremony was over. Vivekananda felt there the vibrant presence of the great incarnation power. He became prophetic and said, quoted, "The spiritual force emanating from here will permeate the whole world, turning the current of men's activities and aspirations to a new channel." Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission together constitute the Ramakrishna Sangha or Ramakrishna Order. Swami Shivananda, the second president of Ramakrishna Order and a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, said, quote, "The present division of the activities of the Ramakrishna Order into those of the Ramakrishna Mission and the Ramakrishna Math, which may give rise to a little confusion, is purely a technical one. It's generally believed that the Math is, as it were, a place for meditation and study alone, whereas philanthropic works have been relegated to the scope of the mission proper. Though in practice it has become so in some cases, it is necessary to clear up any confusion that may exist in this respect. Math, conceived by Swamiji, includes everything: work as well as worship, social service as well as meditation and study. He wanted to incorporate with the Belur Math a full-fledged university, including in its curriculum the study of religion and philosophy as well as that of technology." Unquote. Having said this, Mahapurush Maharaj said again, I quote, "On legal grounds alone a formal distinction has been made between the Math and the Mission. But all the members of the Ramakrishna Order, whatever may be their sphere of work for the time being, belong in essence to the Ramakrishna Math conceived by Swamiji. Any attempt to make a cleavage between the existing Math and Mission works is distinctly against the ideal of Swamiji and therefore stands self-condemned. Any attempt to find a distinction between the ideals of the Math and the Mission is unholy and dangerous." Unquote. Now, anyone who believes in ideals propagated by Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sri Sharada Devi and Swami Vivekananda forms an extended part of the Ramakrishna Order. One may ask, what are the cardinal principles of Neo-Vedanta movement? To be precise, this is this. Number 1, divinity of soul. Number 2, unity of Godhead. Number 3, harmony at all levels. Number 4, practical or Neo-Vedanta. 5, yearning for God. 6, love for truth. 7, scientific temper in religion. 8, bridge between Vedanta and science. 9, tolerance and acceptance. 10, God realization, the only goal of life. We believe Sri Ramakrishna is the founder of the Ramakrishna Sangha. After Buddha, this is the first time that an incarnation of God established an order which is so inclusive in nature. Swami Vivekananda said, quoted, "The historicity of my master cannot be doubted because he is caught in modern camera." Christopher Isherwood said, I quote, "I will say only this: Ramakrishna's life, being comparatively recent history, is well documented." Unquote. Then he goes on to say, Ramakrishna order is unique because its founder was unique. Now one may very well argue why and how it is unique. Let us illustrate this point one by one. Number one, is there another order of monks in the contemporary world which was founded by an incarnation of God? The answer is no. And this makes the Ramakrishna order a unique one. 2. Throughout the annals of the spiritual history of the world, is there a single example of a woman becoming the Sangha Janani of an order of monks? No. Only in the Ramakrishna order we find Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi as the Sangha Janani. This is why this order is unique. 3. Ramakrishna Sangha traces its lineage to Sringeri Math. The presiding deity of Sringeri Math is Shoroshi, Mother Kamakshi of Kanchipuram. Ramakrishna order had the privilege of having Ma Shoroshi in the person of Sarada Devi, the divine consort of Sri Ramakrishna, who was worshipped as Shoroshi Devi by Sri Ramakrishna himself. She is the guardian angel of the Ramakrishna Sangha. Even now, the Sankalpa of Vedic pujas held in Belur Math and its branches all over the world is done in the name of Holy Mother, the Sangha Janani of Ramakrishna order. How much Holy Mother did for the growth, consolidation and development of the Sangha is testified by one incident. At Bodh Gaya, Holy Mother prayed to Sri Ramakrishna, quoted, O Lord, you have been embodied in human form, and you spent the period of your earthly existence with a few disciples. Now has everything ended with your passing away? In that case, what need was there for your embodiment entailing so much suffering? I have seen in Vrindavan and Benaras so many holy men living on alms and having shade of trees for shelter. There is no lack of sadhus of that type. I can't bear to see my children, who have renounced all for your sake, wandering about for a morsel of food and coarse clothing. O Lord, those who give up the world for your sake may not suffer for want of simple food and coarse clothing. It's also my prayer that my children should live together, clinging to you and your teachings, and people afflicted with the suffering of the world should come to them and get peace of mind by hearing from them your words. That's why you incarnated yourself in human form. My mind becomes restless, seeing my children roam about here and there. Unquote. This is why our mother, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, is the Janani of Ramakrishna Sangha. It's Holy Mother's prayer which envisaged the new orientation, the ancient monasticism was to be given. Has the world ever seen an example like this in the entire spiritual history? This is why our mother is unique, her children are unique, the Ramakrishna order is unique. 4. Ramakrishna Sangha believes in cultivation of scientific temper in everything including religion. This makes the Sangha unique. Throw the religious theories in the laboratories of science and get them tested. If they stand the test, accept them as the spirit of the Ramakrishna Sangha. 5. One of the very important features preached and practiced in the Ramakrishna Sangha is inclusiveness. In the brotherhood of the Ramakrishna order, we have monks from all major communities of the world. In this Sangha, a Hindu becomes a better Hindu, a Muslim becomes a better Muslim, a Christian becomes a better Christian, a Buddhist becomes a better Buddhist. Our monks live and grow together. Our monks are more brotherly than brothers born of the same parents. We do not convert, but every one of us is united with each other in the name of our common and chosen ideal, Sri Ramakrishna. This practice of universality makes the Ramakrishna order unique in the world. 6. Ramakrishna Sangha is non-proselytizing. This is again very unique feature. 7. Ramakrishna order emphasizes on the combination of 4 yogas. The emblem of the order stands for this combination. This is again unique. 8. The motto of Ramakrishna order is Atmano Mokshartham Jagadhitaya Cha. It is for the liberation of one's own soul through doing Nishkama Karma for the people of the world. This is unique. 9. Celibacy is the primary condition for being a monk in the Ramakrishna order. Monks are not entitled even to a single thank you for what they do for others, much less to speak of remuneration. Whatever a monk does is an offering at the feet of the Lord. Only celibate young men can join the Ramakrishna order if they satisfy other criteria like age, qualification, etc. This is again something very, very new. 10. According to Swami Vivekananda, there shall never be dearth of Brahmogyanis in the Ramakrishna order. Can there be anything more striking? In the global context, the number of Brahmogyanis can be counted by fingers. And Swamiji Maharaj blessed this Sangha with this assurance and blessing that out of very few Brahmogyanis all over the world, at least 1 or 2 will be from the Ramakrishna order. Is it not unique? 11. Ramakrishna order is a non-sectarian sect. Ramakrishna order never indulges in what you call dogmatism. Maybe this is why in the recent time a religious leader of Europe said, I quote, Ramakrishna order of monks is the smallest, the youngest and the poorest order of monks in the world, although spiritually it is the most powerful order of monks in the world, unquote. Someone who is a researcher of Ramakrishna Vivekananda literature said, quote unquote, Ramakrishna is infectious. Ramakrishna Sangha welcomes everyone and rejects none, unquote. 12. The holistic approach of the Ramakrishna order makes itself unique. We shall quote here some of the conclusions of Professor Jackson's thesis on the Ramakrishna movement. Quote, the Ramakrishna movement has been a rather unusual movement with a significance out of proportion to its size. There are several aspects in which this may be claimed. 1. Though only one sect in a hot house of American sects, it is the chief Western spokesman for one of the great world religions. 2. The Ramakrishna movement's work represents a significant development in the history of modern Hinduism and in the interaction of the world's great religions. Traditionally, Hinduism has been a non-missionary religion. The Ramakrishna movement is one of the first Hindu groups to attempt religious work in the West, while Christian missionary in India and the Orient have been a commonplace for several centuries now. Oriental missionaries in the West are something quite novel. The attempt of the Ramakrishna movement to establish Hinduism in the United States, even if the attempt ultimately fails, is of consequence because it suggests something new in the modern relations of the world religions. 3. Still another noteworthy feature of the movement's history is its exemplification of the process, the give and take, by which East and West are engaging in modern times. Its history offers one case of what happens when East meets West. Unquote. Julian Huxley, in one of his thoughtful books, points to the necessity for creating a body of people which will join the liberal and rational spirit of science to the ardor and faith of religion. He asks, I quote, "Is it possible to plan a body which shall engender enthusiasm and canonize devotion after the fashion of a young religious order, but which shall not fall into the dangers of religious dogmatism on the one hand, and on the other shall be by defects in its organization slip into the conservatism or worldliness, which is the usual fate of so many orders?" The history of India of the last few decades demonstrates clearly the practicability of this proposition. The new movements of the spirit of India, as initiated by Swami Vivekananda, are synthetic of not merely science and religion, but also of the sacred and the secular, of the East and the West. One of the most competent persons to have deeply studied and ably commented on the spiritual signification of the Ramakrishna phenomenon in regard to human development was Sri Aurobindo. About the two persons in one or one in two, Ramakrishna or Vivekananda, who have cascaded as this movement in the world history, he wrote in the Karma Yogin. I quote, "The world couldn't bear a second birth like that of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhansa in 500 years. The mass of thought that he has left has first to be transformed into experience. The spiritual energy given forth has to be converted into achievement. Until this is done, what right have we to ask for more? He is the proof of the power behind us and the future before us. So great a birth initiates great happenings. Many are to be tried as by fire, and not a few will be found to be pure gold. But whatever happens, whether victory or defeat, speedy fulfillment or prolonged struggle, the fact that he has been born and lived in our midst in the sight and memory of men now living is a proof that God has sounded for the trumpet that never shall call retreat. He is shifting out the herds of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer him. Be jubilant, my feet, while God is marching on." Unquote. All these and more make Ramakrishna order a unique order of monks in the world. Before I wrap up, I offer my salutations at the feet of the holy order of Sri Ramakrishna, which is verily the gross body of the Master himself. It's because of the tangible and palpable presence of Sri Ramakrishna that today Ramakrishna order stands so tall, proclaiming its uniqueness. Let us chant Ramakrishnang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Dharmang Saranang Gacchami. Thank you so very much.